What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's blogging theboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and if you are a DFW sports fan, if you root for every single team in the Metroplex, I'm sorry that the Dallas Mavericks could not close it out for you on Tuesday night. I'll actually be completely and totally honest with you. I shot a video talking about how the Mavericks were headed to the NBA Finals, how the Stars are on the precipice, obviously, of heading to the Stanley Cup Final, how the Texas Rangers won the World Series last year, and how the Dallas Cowboys are the outlier, to say the least. Now, I will do that video, obviously, if and when the Mavericks get to the NBA Finals, and if and when the Dallas Stars get to the Stanley Cup Final, but I had to scrap it because I did it on Tuesday afternoon. I was counting my chickens. I thought the Mavericks were going to win on Tuesday night. Whatever the case, don't worry. It's still going to happen. I know it's stressful. I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan. I've been there. I've done that. We will be there. We will do that once again with Victor Wembanyama, but we're not here to discuss that right now. We're here today to discuss the Dallas Cowboys, which I do all the time here on the Blog of the Boys YouTube channel. So if you have not subscribed, please go ahead and do so. We are the most subscribed to individual team channel across all of the SB Nation universe. Thank you for making us number one. We take that very seriously, and I want to make sure that we and I live up to your standard of being numero uno. My name, again, RJ Ochoa. If you want to follow me on social media, you can do so at RJ Ochoa on Twitter, Instagram, or Threads, or TikTok, rj.ochoa. Want to send me an email, rj.ochoa@sbnation.com, or leave a comment down below, and I'll do my best to field those as well. All right, so what are we here to talk about today? Obviously, the topic du jour all offseason long for the Cowboys has been their extensions and the players they haven't done extensions with. The big three, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons. We've had this conversation a number of different ways. I mean, we've talked about it from the top, from the bottom, from the sides, diagonally. We've come at this subject in every conceivable way. And here we sit with teams on the verge of reaching the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Final. We're that late in the sports calendar, and none of these extensions have happened for the Dallas Cowboys, and nobody can figure it out in any way, because whether you are a fan, whether you are a proponent of extending one or all of these players, you can acknowledge that waiting to do so does not make sense. I'm fine if you don't want to extend Dak Prescott. That is up to you. But if you are going to extend Dak Prescott, the earlier the better. If you are going to extend CeeDee Lamb, the earlier the better. If you are going to extend Micah Parsons, shocker here, the earlier the better. So I want to put something on your screen. We talked about this way back when. This is from an article that I wrote at bloggingtheboys.com back in March of this year. So about 2.5 months ago at this point in time. This is a quote from NFL Network's Shane Slater, as you can see on your screen. As for the contracts, all is quiet on that front. Still nothing with Dak Prescott. I anticipate that CeeDee Lamb at some point will get his. I think he's probably first in line in terms of priority, and then they've got to get to Micah Parsons. But annual reminder, signing their guys is their idea of free agency. Now, Jane said this because this was in the middle of free agency, and this was kind of the peak of the Cowboys not doing anything, and everybody was screaming about all in and blah blah blah. As mentioned, this article, actually, let me make sure here, this was March the 13th, so it has been a very long time since this was written. It has not been a long time since something else was written. What you're looking at on your screen right now was actually published on Wednesday morning, the day that I'm shooting this video for you. It is May the 29th, 2024. Obviously, you know that because you're a very smart person. This is from ESPN.com. ESPN's Todd Archer was included in this wide variety of discussion here. You can see this is the full article from ESPN Plus. Everybody, support Todd Archer. He's the man. But NFL contracts could Prescott, Chase be next for big paydays. It's from various NFL Nation reporters and various NFL players who obviously are in certain contractual disputes with their respective teams. You see T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, so on and so forth. All right, so now the stage has been set. Let's get to Dak Prescott here. Let me zoom in for you. Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to skim through this for you. Latest on negotiations. Team owner Jerry Jones might have been delighted to hear Prescott say during OTAs that he doesn't play for money, but he knows the final price on an agreement will be significant, perhaps higher than the $55 million annually Joe Burrow makes as the league's highest paid quarterback. Remember, Burrow got that deal right as the 2023 season began in that first Thursday night game between the Kansas City Chiefs and Detroit Lions. Continuing to date, there haven't been meaningful talks between the sides. It's almost June, so you would think that it would make sense to do that, but whatever. While the Cowboys have been criticized for waiting to get a deal done, that's kind of what we're doing here. Prescott has shown patience. It worked for the signal caller in 2021 when he signed his 4-year, $160 million deal, and it could work again. I'm going to take this off the screen now because here's the thing. a lot of people say it takes two to tango. A lot of people say, Prescott's the one kind of holding this up. Here's the thing. Whether you want to agree with it or not, whether you like it or not, I'm sorry if you don't, but whether you like it or not, Dak Prescott holds all of the cards here. He has all of the leverage. And so maybe you are somebody who doesn't like Dak Prescott that can't admit that, because there are a wide variety of people here. Maybe you are team don't extend Dak, but you are logically processed enough to be able to say, I understand that Dak holds all the leverage. I don't want him on my team, whatever the case, blah, blah, blah. If you are somebody who wants the Cowboys to sign Dak Prescott, or if you are somebody who can accept that they're going to sign Dak Prescott, don't you want it to be for the best deal possible, right? Don't you want it to be for the fewest amount of dollars that it can possibly be? That would make sense to me. Right now, I am team player all the time. I want to see all these players get as much money as they possibly can. But in the interest of the team, you want to pay the lowest possible price. So that means that when somebody like Dak Prescott has all of the leverage, you're going to have to overwhelm him. You're going to have to give him or make him an offer that he cannot refuse. If it's a refusable offer, he's going to refuse it because he has all of the leverage in this particular situation. So yeah, it's going to suck from a financial standpoint. You're going to have all sorts of guaranteed money. You're going to have to bend on the length of the contract. You're going to have to make him the highest paid player on an annual average basis. You're going to have to do all of those things. You're going to have to check all of those boxes. And the longer you wait, the more you prolong it, the more you procrastinate, the worse it's going to get from that perspective. So you have to accept this. You have to swallow your pride if you either A, want Dak Prescott back, or B, if you are somebody, again, who can accept that Prescott might be the best quarterback for the Cowboys relative to everything involved here, then you should be screaming for them to get this done, because the longer they wait, the more intense these variables are going to become. But he's just one of three situations here. Let's get to the CeeDee Lamb portion. This is the latest on negotiations. Again, shout out to Todd Archer. During the draft, Jones said this was so funny. He wanted to see some more leaves fall when it came to some of the contracts, blah, blah. Shortly thereafter, literally one day after, Detroit's Amon-Ra St. Brown and Philadelphia's A.J. Brown signed deals, blah, blah, blah. If more leaves fall, such as a Justin Jefferson deal with Minnesota, then the price for Lamb could go even higher. Of the Cowboys' big three deals for Prescott, Lamb, and Micah Parsons, the talks with Lamb could begin in earnest soon, with an eye on getting finalized in training camp. He has skipped the offseason program for the first time and worked on his own, but Lamb has gotten in multiple throwing sessions with Prescott. Okay. I am somebody who wants the Cowboys to bring Dak Prescott back. I am somebody who wants to see the Cowboys get an extension done with Dak Prescott. With that qualifier now offered, CeeDee Lamb is the most important deal to get done as soon as possible. CeeDee Lamb needs to be priority number one. You have to get the CeeDee Lamb deal done the soonest, the quickest, the fastest, the earliest, however you want to put this here. Is that because I would rather the Cowboys keep CeeDee Lamb than Dak Prescott? No, because that's a stupid way to look at this. The reality of the situation, and I wrote about this at Blogging the Boys, so you can read my article. Obviously, it should be out sometime later Wednesday afternoon. I'm lost in my days, but certainly by the time you're watching this, the tenor of the quarterback market isn't that volatile right now. Yes, Jared Goff just got paid, what feels like 5 minutes ago by the Detroit Lions. And yes, Tua Tagovailoa and Trevor Lawrence are kind of hanging in the ether right now, but the waters are more stable in the quarterback seat. Does that make sense? If you look at the quarterback market right now, it isn't the quarterback market of a year ago when we saw Lamar Jackson. Well, Jalen Hurts kicked things off, but Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, it was one after another, after another, after another. The seas, were not calm. Versus that's the wide receiver position right now. The wide receiver position today, right now, in our current moment, is choppy waters. It is crazy. If you want to live the analogy I used in the article in golf, you want to post a score and you want to get in the clubhouse because the conditions on the way are not good for you. You need to post a score and get in the clubhouse and just hope that is enough. Justin Jefferson is lurking. Amon-Ra St. Brown got his deal done. A.J. Brown got his deal done, obviously. Jamar Chase is lurking. Brandon Ayuk is lurking. Jalen Waddle is lurking. You need to beat them. That needs to be the absolute priority for the Dallas Cowboys, because the moment one of or two of or any of those deals happen, the moment CeeDee Lamb's price increases all the more. I don't know how to stress this more intensely than to say it again like this, and I've said it this way many different times over the course of this offseason, but CeeDee Lamb is literally coming off of the greatest individual statistical season that any Dallas Cowboys wide receiver has ever had. Literally number one. Okay, so he should serve as an example for the next player that we're going to talk about here. We talked about with Dak how you have to overwhelm him. You have to make him an offer he can't refuse. We talked about a year ago how the Cowboys should have extended CeeDee Lamb then when he was first eligible for a contract extension. Now, you can sit here and you can say, well, CeeDee Lamb wouldn't have taken a deal. CeeDee wanted to wait and see how Justin Jefferson was going to get paid. Again, you would have had to have made him an offer that he couldn't refuse. And had you done so, then right now you'd probably be pretty happy. Right now, even if you'd given him $30 million a year ago, you'd probably be feeling pretty good about that right now, right? The sooner the better. When you have identified a player to be one that you want for the foreseeable future, a franchise cornerstone, the sooner the better. And that brings us to the final player involved in this discussion here, and that is Micah Parsons. This is Todd's blurb. By the way, it is so funny how ESPN always includes their ad for something in a Cowboys blurb because they know that's where people are going to spend the majority of attention. So shout out to the Disney bundle, I suppose. But anyway, Micah Parsons, latest on negotiations of the Cowboys' big three. Parsons' deal is likeliest to be on the back burner. It's not that the Cowboys don't want to sign him to a long-term contract right now, but they have him locked up through 2025 on the fifth-year option and will have the franchise tag available to use in 2026 if necessary. Todd goes on to mention that Micah has worked away from the Cowboys not because of contractual disputes, but because he prefers to turn on his own. Whatever, however you feel about that, that's neither here nor there. Now, I can logically process that there are more grains of sand in the Micah Parsons hourglass than there are the CeeDee Lamb or the Dak Prescott hourglasses. That makes sense to me. I understand that. But think about the conversation we just had 30 seconds ago with CeeDee Lamb. The sooner the better, right? A year ago, again, if the Cowboys had given CeeDee Lamb his deal and it was $30 million a year, it would have felt intense then, right? It would have felt crazy because the Cowboys made him an offer he couldn't refuse, so he didn't refuse it. And then he would have turned in and churned out the greatest statistical wide receiver season that any Dallas Cowboys wide receiver has ever had. And right now we'd be sitting, hey, you know what, front office? Well done. You got ahead of that. Good for you. Okay, you know what I don't want? First of all, I do want to see all of these players get extended for the Cowboys, but what I do not want, what will frustrate me beyond belief, is if we are sitting here a year from now and Micah Parsons is coming off of winning Defensive Player of the Year, right? He's fallen short, obviously, in his first 3 NFL seasons, but what if this is the year? What if he puts it all together again? What if something, what if he breaks the sack record, right? Like, let's just live in, all sorts of random hypotheticals because all those things are possible. So yes, a year from now, we could be sitting here and saying, you know what, last year was crazy. The Cowboys, though, they took care of CeeDee, they took care of Dak. Now all they have to do is take care of Micah. That could and maybe would be true, but the price could go up, even though the market is not as volatile at edge rusher for Micah as it is at the wide receiver position right now. As we talked about, he has the potential to turn in a season where he can make this really, really, really expensive. So sitting there, and I'm not blaming Todd Archer for this. I understand his analysis and his assessment. Like I said, I can logically process the point he made because it's a fair one. But sitting here and saying, well, you know what? We don't have to worry about Micah right now because we still have the fifth-year option. We could still franchise tag him. That is literally doing the same thing. That is literally making the same mistake. What did we talk about? What have we said like 15 times in the span of these 13 and a half minutes that I've been talking to you? The sooner the better. I know that a lot of people feel different ways about Micah Parsons right now, but there is nobody, not a single one of you or us, that would sit here and say the Cowboys are a better football team without him in the here and now and over the long term, over the course of his entire career. So we can all agree there is no middle of the Venn diagram. There's just one circle of people who all agree that Micah Parsons needs to be a Dallas Cowboy for life. Great. So we have identified that. This is simply a flow chart now. We know we want him around. What does that mean? The sooner, the better. Get it done now. Yes, you have other deals to take care of, but you know why you have those other deals to take care of right now? Because you procrastinated them way back when. You could have got the Dak extension done a year ago. You could have got the Lamb extension done a year ago, but you waited. And here you are. And yes, you're going to get those done at the 11th hour, but it is still the 9th, 10th hour for Micah Parsons. You can get this deal done now. And yes, it will be very expensive and it will be difficult and it will require you to get out of your chair and do some work, but it will save you money in the long term over the course of the entire deal, which is the exact philosophy, disposition, line of thinking we've been trying to scream at the Cowboys front office for months on end now. I feel better. I hope you do too. I hope this was therapeutic for all of us involved. I'm still mad that I didn't get to use the video that I shot on Tuesday. All right. I'm mad at the Mavericks for not being able to close it. I'm not even a Mavericks fan, and I'm mad at them because I spent 10 minutes talking about this whole subject and I couldn't use it. But hey, whatever. My name is RJ Ochoa. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Threads at RJ Ochoa, or on TikTok at RJ.Ochoa. If you'd like to send me an email, you can do so, rj.ochoa@sbnation.com. You can also leave a comment on this video, and I will do my best to get to those. If you have not yet, please, please, pretty please, with sugar on top, as my son likes to say, consider subscribing here to the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel, where I talk about the Dallas Cowboys all the time. It is literally my job to bring you the best Dallas Cowboys discussion and analysis that I can, and it is a job that I am incredibly blessed to have, and one that I take very, very, very seriously. For now, my friends, I'm going to bid you adieu. I'm going to hope that you have a wonderful rest of your hump day, and I cannot wait to see you all once again very, very, very soon. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out, and yeah, we'll see you next time.